Hey folks, welcome to Wolfman's Gaming 10. In this video we're going to be unboxing a whole bunch of goodies for Marvel United. Over here we have the copy of the core game itself, Marvel United. We also have because this is the Kickstarter copy and not the one that was floating around in Walmart, there's a bunch of other extras and goodies that we get which is exclusive to the Kickstarter version. So this I believe is one of the Kickstarter exclusive items, a miniature for Yondu. And then of course we have this huge giant box which is basically all Kickstarter extra stuff. And interestingly enough, this box is twice the size of the core box itself. So there's a lot of goodies to crack into with this one. So for the purposes of this video, we'll look at the base game. So we'll start off with this one. We'll have a look at this box as well, where we can see all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff that came with this particular game for this, as well as this miniature box over here. I do have a couple of other expansions, which I'll cover in a separate video. So if you're interested in checking these out, I'll have the links for these down below. You can check them out there. We'll also have unboxed the Infinity Gauntlet expansion. This I believe is a Kickstarter exclusive item, so it may not be available in retail later on. We'll also be unboxing Rise of the Black Panther. So if you're interested in these two, keep an eye out for the link for these down below. Otherwise, let's crack into Marvel United. All right, so let's start off with the base game itself. And if you've been traveling with sort of like the history and the launch of this game, you'd be familiar with the artwork and the general aesthetics. They're sort of like miniatures with larger heads. Chibi miniatures, I believe these are called. So there's going to be a whole bunch of them in there as well. And of course, you will get a whole host of your favorite Marvel superheroes in their miniature form in this game. And let's take the shrink off, and then we'll start by looking at some of the artwork on the box itself, as well as some information related to gameplay, and then jump into the content right there. So off we go. Now, obviously, Marvel United is published by Kaman or Simon Games, as well as Spin Master Games. So Kaman, of course, is famous for the miniatures that they put out in their games. So I'm expecting good quality in the box. Generally speaking, the texture on the box itself it's pretty average. It's not, sort of like here, there is no UV coating, there is no linen finish or anything of that sort. Again, I guess the core game is meant to be more mass market, so this reflects a little bit of that. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of the typical Simon extravagance in terms of content with the Kickstarter Deluxe box, as it were. And of course, we get to see the artwork for the characters you will find in this particular box right here. So I think we can see Ant-Man, Wasp. There's going to be a whole host of them. We'll have a look at this in short order very quickly. But generally, obviously, there's going to be a bunch of cards you're playing out, a bunch of miniatures you're putting out. So hopefully, all good, fun stuff. And as per the back of the box, the game is rated for 1 to 4 players. I do not see anything on the length of the gameplay. Might be here somewhere. I might just be missing it. But either ways, so far, I'm pretty okay with what I'm seeing as of now. So let's crack into it. Promotional materials, we don't need to spend too much time on that. Let's look at the rulebook. Now, from what I understand, this is definitely a lighter game, so I don't expect the rules to be quite heavy. Then we get to see Captain Marvel over here, a whole bunch of different components. Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Hulk, Wasp, Ant-Man, and then for your bad guys, you have the Red Skull, Ultron, and Taskmaster in the core box itself. And then, of course, we have a bunch of dashboards, cards, tokens, villain tracker. I don't see anything for dice, so I assume there is no dice in this game. Then we have the setup for this, winning and losing, so conditions, villain turn, so it looks like the villain is going first, maybe. Activate BAM, sounds very comic-y. Thugs, hero turn, resolve actions, location effects, turn sequence, missions, hero damage, challenges, additional rules. There's a solo mode as well. So there's does not seem to be a lot of variation for the solo mode, but just a couple of quick adjustments, and perhaps you can hopefully get the game to go and play by yourself if that is your jam. But again, I generally like the aesthetics of it. There's a lot of artwork that hopefully help explain how the game works and how the game can be set up and so on and so forth. So that's always good. And it does not seem that heavy. There's a few steps to it, so it's not quite as light as, not something you're going to be learning in 5 minutes, I assume. But the back of the rulebook does give you a handy-dandy rule summary, so it's always nice to see when a rulebook is utilized to its full extent, especially with something like that. Nice. So, nice rulebook so far. And then we have some cardboard. So there's a couple of these. Let's have a look at how these punch out. And these are punching out quite easily. No issues whatsoever. In terms of the thickness of the tokens, these are decent. Yeah, I'm actually quite happy with the quality of these. It's they look quite good. But if they're punching out well and they look good and they're thick and sturdy, those are all obviously good things you want in your cardboard. We have more punch outs here. Different size, different design, but overall, again, the quality seems to be consistent with what we saw with the other one. So I'm okay with these as well. All right, now we crack into the meat of what we can expect. There's a nice lid that covers up this as well, so that things do not necessarily move around. So hopefully there's space to put these counters out in here. And then once you have this on, you're good and packed from that point of view. Always like to see this sort of a lid with any insert. We have some, not exactly cards, but let's find out what these are. These all have a Marvel United logo on the back. These are locations by the look of things. So you have the New York Police Headquarters, Times Square, Shield Helicarrier, Shield Headquarters, Central Park, Stark Labs, Avengers Towers, Avengers Mansion. All good stuff. Generally, overall, the quality of the artwork seems to be quite good as well. The aesthetics is keeping in line with what you would expect for a comic book. So very happy with that. Thicknesses, I should just mention, it's not your traditional card stock. These are thicker than that, so that's good as well. Now it looks like we have some pieces related to the bad guys. So there's a villain dashboard where you have 3 different spots in here with different actions. Again, not cardboard, thick stock paper. And then you have your 3 villains, as it were, Red Skull, Ultron, and Taskmaster. And then in the back, you have their unique abilities. I assume these are unique, and they are. So each villain is doing something unique on their own, and they will have special abilities that they will use to foil the good guys, as it were. Nice. And I like the artwork, again, that I'm seeing so far. I'd seen some previews of this, obviously, when the Kickstarter was on, and I'm very happy with how things have turned out in here. One villain tracker, I think, is what it was called. It's a cube. It's a plastic cube, so there you go. No, that's there, so don't lose track of that when you're opening it up. It seems like something that might be easy to lose if it pops out and whatnot, but now that you know it's there, hopefully that should not happen. And then, of course, we have a set of cards. So let's maybe start with the, I think these are the bad guys. So let's maybe start with this. And then we'll go to the other deck very quickly. Nice. So these decks are specific to the bad guys. So these are obviously the Red Skull. Then there's a bunch of threat cards. Then you have Ultron. And then Ultron, it looks like, has his own. These are actually villains. The threat cards are specific to the villains. So Ultron has his own threat cards. And then you have the Taskmaster. And he, of course, has his own threat cards. There's a bunch of challenge cards. Clear threat, rescue civilians, defeat thugs. So let's turn it around and see what these are. So defeating thugs, so it looks like you might have those thug tokens and civilian tokens on in here. These, I assume, are the challenge cards. So you have moderate challenge, hero challenge, heroic challenge. So those are nice. And these are the threat cards. So this was the Taskmaster threat card. So you have these different ones in here. And then you had the villain specific cards as well. And it looks like, if I remember correctly, I think these are the actions that the villain is taking on their turn, as it were. So that's the Taskmaster. These are the ones for Ultron. And these are the ones for Red Skull. Yeah. So, couple of quick comments on it. So, stock quality is okay. Could be thicker. I would not have minded. Texture is again all right. It's not super impressive, but again, there's nothing to complain about here either. I do wish that there was a little bit more artwork on these. You do have the artwork for the main baddies on these cards, but they do repeat obviously on all of these. Functionally, they seem to be quite good. It's easy to read the text. The symbols are pretty easy to make out. So hopefully, from a gameplay perspective, this works quite well. But from sort of like the amount of artwork that's gone into it, I wish there was a little bit more uniqueness to some of these cards, because you basically have like 7 or 8 different kind of artwork that's just repeated and recycled with all of these in here. But functionally, again, all good, so hopefully not much to complain about there. I do wish some of these cards had more artwork on it. Like this is just a plain simple read what's on it and that's it kind of a deal. But yeah. And again, I guess I understand the rationale behind it. If this is something that's supposed to be more mass market, you do want to keep your costs and whatnot down to a reasonable level so that it's more accessible to everybody, folks, including folks outside the gaming hobby as well, which I assume is part of the intent with these. And these, of course, are the cards for the good guys. So you have the Wasp, Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, Hulk, Iron Man, Black Widow, I think, and Captain America. So they're not skimming on sort of like having some of your more famous guys in here. Of course, there's a whole bunch of others that's going to be in the Kickstarter exclusive pack, as well as the expansions that I have and the expansions that I don't have. So there's a whole army of characters that you can sort of like play within this game once you mix and match everything. And then, of course, turning it around. So there's a little bit more uniqueness with the hero artwork. Again, different poses more than anything else. And again, functionally, they seem to be quite clean. I think is probably the way I will describe it. I like the fact that they each have their own color scheme with the border colors and whatnot. They have their own logos up top. Nice. Yeah, I like this. I think I like this a little bit more than the cards for the bad guys. In fact, I'm just going to go back and confirm that the cards for the bad guys were actually not unique. And no, they were not. They did recycle those. So it looks like they did a little bit more of the unique artwork with the good guys. But the bad guys were skimmed on a little bit, which is fine in the grand scheme of things. It's not the end of the world. And now, of course, we come to what a lot of folks would be excited about Command Games for, which are the minis. So starting off with the Wasp. Level of detail is good. It's not hefty, but there's a good amount of detail in here, as you can see, with the base, with the die, and with the model itself as well. And I know that the heads are a little bit disproportionately larger, as part of sort of like the art and aesthetic of this game, but they're not so large where it starts looking odd and whatnot. So I'm generally quite happy with how these are looking so far. This is the Black Widow, and again, good level of detail with the base as well. If you're somebody who's into painting miniatures, you will have a good time with these. I'm sure of that. This is Iron Man. Nice. Again, good level of detail. Looking good so far. Captain America. Hulk. Yeah, he's angry. I wonder what color you guys are going to paint him if you decide to paint him. Some mystery. Nice, but again, I love how there's the texture and detail on all of the bases. It's nice that they could have skimmed on it and just made the bases plain, but there's work that went into it, so it's good stuff. And now we have Captain Marvel. Again, good level of detail, although Captain Marvel seems quite annoyed for some reason in this one. Well, as were the others, to be honest. I don't think any of them looked pretty cheerful. In fact, Captain America was a bit scary for me as well, wasn't he? Well, not as scary, but definitely quite grim. All right, let's find out how serious the next guy is. Well, he's wearing a mask, so it's not going to be easy to tell on him. Is he standing on a coin? I think he is. I think he is. And again, good level of detail with the base. Really nice. I like this. And I think we did all the good guys. Now we have the bad guys to go through. So starting with this one, Ultron over here. Yeah, he's angry too. He's got his mouth open right there. And then we have the Taskmaster. And finally, the Red Skull. Nice. So, good unboxing so far with this one. Let me put all of these aside and we'll come back and have a look at the Kickstarter exclusive box. Alright folks, so we're back and now we're going to crack into the Kickstarter exclusive box, which covers all the goodies that were exclusive to the campaign during the crowdfunding period. And as we can see just from the back here, tons of minis, tons of different characters, both the good guys and the bad guys. So there's a lot of stuff to crack into here. So without further ado, let's take off the shrink and see what we have. All right. So the artwork again, very consistent with what we saw with the core box itself. So you have obviously sort of like the new characters that are introduced in this particular box. Quality of the box is feels consistent with what we saw earlier, and basically by that what I mean is it's not the thickest cardboard around, so keep that in mind. Given the fact that there's going to be a bit of weight inside here, you want to make sure that this is kept safely somewhere. So not to say that this is thin or at risk of easily getting damaged, but not as sturdy as some of the other boxes that I've seen. And not much more to add as far as the look and feel of the box is concerned. This is more of the traditional thickness that you get with the core box for a Command game, but it looks like they've reserved this for the extra goodies. All right, so let's crack into it. The inside is pretty standard, and we're looking at this, which is this what we want to start off with? Sure, why not? Let's start off with the minis. Let's do it the other way around this time. So we're going to start off with all the minis, and again, lots of these in here. So I'm really excited because definitely you have some of the more popular characters from the Marvel universe in this box. So we'll put this aside, and we're looking at is it 3 layers? No, it's 2. So this is just the cover that separates the first and the second. So let's go layer by layer. So we'll start off with this one. And hopefully I will know most of these characters off the top of my head. But just as I said that, I don't think I recognize this one. Well, this is going to be a test of my Marvel knowledge, isn't it? Oh, that's funny. All right. This one I think we all know. Doctor Strange, isn't it? I think it is. And again, it's nice to see that the level of detail we saw in the other box is continued on in here, especially with sort of like the level of detail on the base as well. And if you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and if you like painting your miniatures, this is going to be quite a bit of a dream for you. This, I assume, is Vision. Yeah, is zapping through solid wall right there. Accompanied by the Scarlet Witch. Accompanied by her brother. I forget his name, but I think that's who he is. This feels like a character from the Black Panther series. I'm not sure. Black Panther, of course, has its own expansion, so not sure what the character from there would be doing in here. Hawkeye, I presume. It's got some nice shades on. War Machine. It's pretty neat how they've integrated sort of like the miniature and the base. There's always something happening on the ground that connects to the character itself. This, I assume, is the Falcon. How do I put this back? There we go. Of course, the man behind the Avengers, Nick Fury. Looks a bit like Samuel L. Jackson as well. Or maybe Samuel L. Jackson looks like Nick Fury. Huh. Miss Marvel, if I'm not mistaken. Scarves just flying around all over. Alright, now let's have a look at some of the bad guys. I wish they'd gone with sort of like a more of a stronger red aesthetic than the dark orangish that they have in here. This one's a little bit sturdier than most of the average other minis that we've seen so far. Yeah. Really good level of detail on this one. I like it. Kingpin, I assume. Oh, I forgot, blanking on his name right now. He was the guy in the Daredevil movie, Bullseye. Right. Well, he's happy about the sword. Good for him. Good level of detail with all of these guys. I don't know who this one is. Is this Doc Ock? I don't think so. It does have stuff coming out of his back, but then that's the shoulder? I'm not sure. Doesn't Doc Ock's supposed to have more of a human form, so unless I'm missing something. This, I assume, is Venom. Thor's sister, wasn't it? Hella. Whoa, he's got a flaming head. Is that fire or just his hair? I'm not sure. Nice. So far, really good showing with these set of minis. I will crack into the second half, and these are all just the good guys, so there are no bad guys in here. It looks like there's 2 spots in here for you to put down minis, and maybe one is for this friend over here. So we'll do that at the very end. But before we do that, let's see who else we have here. It's the Iron Fist, I think. Elektra, maybe. Daredevil. I love that insignia right on there. Nicely done. He's angry. He's very angry. I feel like I should know this one, but I'm blanking on it for some reason. The Punisher. Well, bringing in the big guns is certainly his forte, and living up to his reputation with the, assume that's a rocket launcher on in there. Nice. Looks like it's the cable coming off a bridge or something. So far, really good busts, really good minis. The level of detail for some are not as high as some of the others, but overall I think the average quality is definitely pretty good. This might be the good guy version of Venom. See, so this one has a decent level of detail, for example, and then some of the others don't really have it to the same extent. But again, I'm nitpicking here to some degree when I say that. Most of these are pretty good. And again, I think it's worthwhile taking the time to go through all of these minis, especially if there's like a specific character you want to keep an eye out for and see what that looks like. I'm not sure if I can put timestamps for all of these, but just quickly scroll through it and you should be able to find what you're looking for. Nice. Go in, go in. Whoa. He-Man's business. All right, on to the last row. Is that Gamora? I don't know. Yikes, he's about to stab someone pretty hard. And lastly, looking pretty carefully there. Nice. So again, good set of minis. Generally, I'm very happy with the quality that I've seen so far. And yeah, nice. So let's put these to the side. Let's come back and have a look at what's in here. So we have the cards for the bad guys. So you have Venom, Rhino, MODOK, Kingpin, Kang, Hela, Dormammu, Corvus Glaive, Carnage, Bullseye, Baron Zemo. Nice. And then of course, as we saw with the others, with the base game, they all have unique abilities. So lots of replay value if you want to play with different characters. Hopefully they're different enough that it gives you a different flavor every time you're out there playing a game. And it looks like we have some new tokens that some of the characters might have introduced. Again, continues the quality that we saw with the cardboard in the base game. The quality is decent, thickness is good, and they're punching out quite well. So all good stuff. We're not going to obviously go through all of these, although I went through most of these, even as I say that. And then, of course, we have a bunch of cards for all the different characters in the game. So let's start off from here. And again, the artwork did repeat a little bit in the base game, so we'll see if it continues that trend here or not. So the artwork on the back, of course, differentiates the different characters. Don't go flying off. I don't want to rearrange this afterwards. But the artwork on the back of the card is really nice. Completely in line with the aesthetics you would expect for a comic book, and especially with the kind of art style that they're going for with the slightly larger head, the chibi style, if you can call it that. And then on this side, again, some of the cards do have unique artwork for the good guys in different poses. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's all right. And again, they have their own border color, as it were. Nice. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to go through all of these. Maybe just let's open up some and see what we have in here. Let's remember to put them back in, just to make my life easier at the end of the video. So it looks like these are all the bad guys and their threat cards. It's Bullseye and his. And then artwork, again, continues the trend of using the same portrait art for all of the villain cards in here. So, yeah, all right. So there's some variability with the hero cards, and again, some being a relative term, and very little with the bad guy deck, as it were. But lots of cards, obviously, as you can see, there's 6 different stacks in here, and these are all thick stacks. These are not small ones. Here, Rhino, MODOK, Kingpin. Yeah. I really like the artwork on the back of the card. It's full sized. It's nicely done as well. Yeah. All right. Should we power through and wrap up the last 3 decks as well? Let's maybe just do that. I'll leave the timestamps for the base game, the extras, and then the one mini that we have left over. So if you're happy with what you've seen with the cards and you want to jump ahead to the mini, please feel free to do so. Big Fury. Nice. And then hopefully some unique poses and some unique artwork. And again, I'll maybe just do a zoom up of a couple of these just so that you can tell the level of detail that's gone into it. It's not bad. It's very much, as I said, in line with what you would expect for a comic book style artwork. So it's good stuff. Do I wish that there was a little bit more detail or a little bit more variability in it? Sure, but it's not so bad. I'm pretty happy with these. I think these are going to do quite well in gameplay. Yeah. All right. Oops, these are all just sliding out. Slipping and sliding. The quality of the cards, again, is consistent with what we saw in the base game, which is to say that the stock quality is average. There was no special linen finish or anything of that sort. But again, just given the variability with all these different cards, hopefully you're using up different ones with different games, so you shouldn't really run the risk of damaging any of the cards anytime soon. Nice. Just going to randomly have a look at some of these on the inside instead of going through all of them. Nice. And then the last one. Yes, it was a Black Panther character. Interesting. I thought they would have saved her for the Black Panther expansion, but and it's Gamora here as well. Nice. Let me know what you think about the quality of the artwork. If you think that the variability that they have in here is what is expected, or if you think this is more or less than what you would have been expecting. But either ways, that is all the stuff that comes in this particular box. We'll move this to the side. And the very last piece that we want to cover is, of course, this one miniature of Yondu that we had left over. So it's a pretty plain box. I assume this will fit into one of those slots that we saw, empty slots that we saw in the box just now. Which also begs the question as to why you would have this separately as opposed to in there. But who am I to complain? Let's get this guy out. And so that's all the stuff that's in there. So of course you have his set of cards, and you have his one miniature. It's too bad he's not doing his Mary Poppins pose, but pretty decent nonetheless. And then his set of cards. All right. Hopefully I've not damaged the cards themselves. Nice. So striking a few different poses. And this is, of course, the artwork on the back. So that's it. That's pretty much everything that comes in the base game, the Kickstarter expansion box, and the Yondu mini with the Yondu's cards separately. So thanks for watching, guys. That was the unboxing for Marvel United by Come On and Spin Master Games. If you want to check out the unboxing for the other expansions, I'll have the links for those down below when they're up. So check those out when you can. And I'll also have a tutorial for this up pretty soon as well. So keep an eye out for that if you want to try this game out and you don't want to slog through the rulebook yourself. So thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, leave them down below. If you enjoyed the video, put a like on and subscribe to the channel. There's more content coming up soon. And in the meanwhile, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.